Hello Roso buddies, the month of fasting, which is Ramadan, is approaching. This is the month where Muslims fast for a whole month, in order to celebrate the revelation of the Quran. So, what's so special about fasting? Let's talk about it now. Welcome back to Elmu Roso, with Heart We Care, with Art We Share. I'm Patrick, and I'll be your host. A human needs to eat. One way of taking care of our physical body is by eating. But we know that too much eating will become bad for ourselves. It could create overweight to our body, and it could lead to diabetes and other more health issues. But how about just eating less? Is it better than fasting? There is an interesting topic about eating less versus eating nothing, or we can say fasting. In November 1944, a study performed at the University of Minnesota called the Minnesota Starvation Experiment. 36 healthy men with an average height of 178 centimeters and average weight of 69.3 kilograms were selected to undertake this experiment. For the first 3 months, they were eating with a normal diet of 3,200 calories a day. The next 6 months, they were given lesser meals of semi-starvation at 1,570 calories a day, divided between breakfast and lunch. During the semi-starvation experiment phase, the men experienced profound physical and psychological changes. Everyone complained that they were too cold. One subject talked about having to wear a sweater in July on a sunny day. The men experienced a complete lack of interest in everything except for food, which they were obsessed with. They were plagued with constant and intense hunger. Now compare that experiment with the extreme case of Angus Barbieri, a Scottish man who in 1965 fasted for over 380 days straight under the supervision of a doctor. He took no food whatsoever, nothing but water, black coffee, straight tea, and multivitamins for just over a year. He lost 125 kilograms, going from 207 kilograms to 82 kilograms. A case report published by the Dundee University Department of Medicine in 1973 said, the patient remained symptom-free, felt well and walked about normally, and prolonged fasting in this patient had no ill effects. There were no complaints of mind-numbing hunger, and he kept the weight off for several years. His weight stayed around 89 kilograms. These two illustrate some very interesting points about just how different of a physical and psychological response you can get from fasting. That is, eating nothing, compared to eating less. The case of feeling hungry and not feeling hungry could be explained by a hormone inside our body, called ghrelin, known as the hunger hormone. This hormone has been found to increase appetite and weight gain. The ghrelin level changed over time. The ghrelin level will be lowest around 9 a.m. and it will rise around lunchtime, and then dinner time and breakfast time. These changes of ghrelin level will run in the same form whether we are eating normally, eating less, or we are fasting. The difference is that if we accustom ourselves with fasting, the rise of our ghrelin will not be that high compared with if we are not fasting. This is why when we fast in the month of Ramadan, for the first 2 days we will feel hungry in the afternoon around lunchtime. But once we have entered the 3rd or the 4th day of fasting, we will feel less hungry compared with the day before. This is because the peak level of our ghrelin has started to decrease. This could explain why in the starvation experiment case performed by the University of Minnesota, the man always felt hungry, while Angus Barbieri's fast was causing him to feel not hungry or less hungry. Also, when we are feeling hungry and no food enters our body, we are most likely going to enter a state called ketosis. Ketosis is a physiological state where your metabolism switches to using primarily fat for energy. Ketosis occurs when we restrict carbohydrates down to 50 grams or less and we don't eat enough protein. For this reason, ketosis is popular as a weight loss method. Beside that, ketosis also has many other benefits, including better physical and mental efficiency. This could be why the men that had undergone the starvation experiment felt their body too cold and weak, while Angus felt well. This is the wonder of fasting, that fasting is healthy. By fasting, not only we take care of our body, but also we take care of our mind. Okay, Roso buddies, that is all for now, and stay tuned for our next episode.